Chapter 22 Milim versus Luminous. Back in Lubilus, everything was peaceful and people were minding their own business. Everyone was happy as always. The knights were moving about and ensuring that the people were safe. And the people were all happy and grateful for the work of the knights in their nation. That's right. Lubilus was a peaceful nation, and everyone was happy until a great calamity approached the city. With great speed, the calamity landed with a giant thud, which shook all the people in the capital city of Lubilus. People began to scream, and before long, chaos descended on the capital. Everyone ran for their lives, and the knights were doing all they could to calm the people. The reason this is happening is because half the city was in ruin. Because of the shockwave that happened after the calamity landed, buildings were destroyed and many were injured, all because of a single landing of one person, and the aura of this person is doing nothing to calm the people's anxiety of the situation. The person who landed looked at the frightened people with disinterest. She concentrated her senses around the whole city until she found who she was looking for. "So that's where you are. You can't hide from me," the person said to herself. And the person took off to the direction of the inner cloister. With her speed, she was able to reach the cloister in no time at all. She landed in front of the sacred mountain that was the center of Lublius. But she wasn't alone. She saw multiple men dressed in white armor, and all of them were heavily armed and were looking at her with unshakable resolve. "We will not let you pass," one of the soldiers shouted. "We are the paladins, defender of mankind. Surrender yourself now or face the consequences," another shouted. The person looked at them like they were mainly an annoyance. She gave them a cocky smile. "Nice to meet you all. I am known as Milim, Demon Lord Milim Nava, the Destroyer. I have come here to see your leader. Bring her out, or I will destroy this pitiful nation." All the soldiers paled when they heard of the name Milim. They all knew the story of the walking calamity that called herself Milim Nava. They all understood that the situation was dire, yet their resolve was unwavering and unshakable. "We will not listen to your request, demon. You may be a demon lord, but even you will not stand a chance against all of us combined," one of the brave knights shouted. The other knights readied themselves for the fight of a lifetime. Little they know they will regret that decision very soon. Malima looked at all of them in anger. "Then prepare yourselves for death," with that the slaughter began. Louise heard the commotion that was happening outside. He rushed outside to know what was happening, but the scene he saw shook him. He saw a single girl with pink hair standing in a pile of dead bodies. The whole area was littered with dead bodies of the paladins that numbered about 1,000. The girl turned her attention to him and gave him a cold look. Louise was very frightened because of who it was that was attacking them. He could not move from his spot under her gaze. Finally the girl spoke. "I will ask this only once. Bring out Luminous now, or I will destroy this worthless nation." Louise found his voice. Why do you want to see her?" "That is none of your concern. I will call her. Will you call her, yes or no?" William asked him with disinterest. Louise did not know what to do. He obviously can't call his master here, knowing the intention of Demon Lord Milim. On the other hand, he can't fight Milim in combat. If he tried, he would be killed in an instant. He was lost on what to do, but luck was on his side. Demon Lord Luminous Valentine came out to see what was going on. Luminous heard the commotion outside her temple and came out to see what was happening. She froze and froze from what she saw. Milim was standing in the middle of a dead corpse of her people. She calmly looked at Milim, who was still talking to Louise, to understand her intention. Milim looked at Louise and saw Luminous standing there. "So there you are, Luminous. I have some business with you." "I can see that, Milim. What business do you have with me exactly?" "As far as I'm concerned, I haven't done anything to you that deserves you killing my people in cold blood," Luminous said with a calm tone, with a calm look. Milim's face Malim's face changed to anger after hearing that. "Don't play dumb with me, Luminous. You know of my relationship with Rimiru, and now you know how I react when someone threatens him." Luminous was very confused now. "What are you talking about? I have done nothing to threaten Rimuru." "Oh, then your soldiers that I saw marching to Rimuru City, by their number you can tell that they're going to war. You are their leader, which means you are the one who ordered them to attack Rimuru." Milim shouted at her with anger. Luminous didn't know what Milim was talking about. Why would she send her men to fight Rimuru when she knew what he could do? She is not that stupid, but Milim would not believe her. She calmly looked at Milim. "Look, Milim, I did not give them any such orders. They are doing this of their own will, on their own. But still, why are you worried about Rimuru when you know what he can do and how powerful he is? This is not about my darling's strength. I know he can protect himself from those weaklings. But I am still mad that you had the guts to pick a fight with someone who is very dear to me. I'm going to make sure that you never think of making such a stupid decision again after I'm through with you," Milim said to her with an anger. Luminous knew that nothing she would say will ever convince Milim she was innocent. She brought out her sword, Night Rose, a mystic-grade weapon that took a fighting stance. "Louise, do not interfere or you will die. Keep any other person that wants to interfere away from the fight." "Understood, my lady," Louise replied, as he went to a safe distance from the fight. Luminous waited for Milim to take her move. "I never imagined that I would have to fight Milim in a fight. Never imagined that I would have to face Milim in a fight. This is ridiculous. How am I supposed to be here? I know my limit, and I know that she's way above my power. This is gonna be tricky." Milim rushed at Luminous with a punch. Luminous jumped back and evaded her despite the speed Milim was moving. This is thanks to Luminous having thought acceleration, which allows her to perceive things at a speed far beyond the speed of light. Luminous landed and rushed Milim with her sword raised. She reached Milim, who was on the ground, and swinged her sword at her, aiming for her midsection, and put a lot of power in her swing. Had it been anyone else, she would have cut the person in two, but Milim took the attack head-on without a scratch. Lumina's sword swing was stopped at the moment it made contact with Milim's body, and greatly shocked her. She was so distracted from this phenomenon that she did not see Milim was attacking her. Milim set out a punch directly in the face of Luminous, which caught her off guard and sent her flying back into the temple. Luminous crashed into the wall of the temple with a heavy boom. Louise, who was standing by and saw his master crashing into the wall of the temple, became very worried. He tried to rush to her aid, but Milim was faster than he could ever imagine. Before he took a step, Milim appeared in front of him, and with her fist cocked back, ready to punch him. Milim was standing to see if Luminous will get up from her punch. While she waited, she saw her the servant of Luminous, trying to get to her aid, and this annoyed her. Might as well take out the weakling before he gets in the way of my fight. With Luminous, Milim thought to herself. She rushed at Louise with her speed and punched him, which caused a massive boom with huge smoke. When the smoke cleared, Louise was seen sitting on the ground with wide eyes looking at the scene in front of him. He was shocked because Luminous was in front of him, with her face covered in blood and using her sword to block the punch from Milim that would have killed him. Luminous could not believe she survived taking a direct punch to the face from Milim. If she didn't have the unique skill Lust, she would have been dead. She was lucky because all of her strength was able to block the punch of Milim that would have killed her servant Louise. She turned to Louise and shouted at him, "Why are you still sitting there, you fool? Hurry up and get out of here, quickly! Get away quickly!" Louise immediately stood up and ran down the secret mountain. Luminous, standing to her feet, started to feel a huge force behind the sword that was blocking Milim's punch, and she tried her best to stand her ground, but she started to see small cracks in her sword. Milim Nova is ever the monster. I know she is. She has not even gotten serious, and she is already this strong. If we continue to clash here, she might destroy the city. I need to get her away from here, Louise thought to herself. At the moment she saw that Milim was going to overpower her, Louise jumped up and took off in the direction away from the city. Milim saw her flying away and took off after her. Both of them flew to an open field with grasses all over the place before Luminous landed in the field, followed by Milim, who was right behind her. Both of them opposite of each other and looked at each other. Finally, Luminous spoke. "Milim, I don't know why you are accusing me of things I don't know about. But if you still want to fight me, I promise you that I won't hold back anymore. Pretend all you want, but you will eat your words after I'm done with you. To anyone who dares plan harm to my beloved will have no mercy for me." Milim said it to her with anger. "If that is your answer, then so be it. Just remember that you know the one to blame but yourself when you lose." Luminous said before she began to release all her magic tools. Her powers were massive and coated her body in kind of armor. Luminous' sword changed and added power and became more durable and sharp. Luminous then raised her right hand in the air and a massive magic circle appeared in below Milim. She brought her hand and pointed to the circle, and another massive magic circle appeared under Milim. She clapped both her hands together and multiple magic circles surrounded Milim and trapped her in the middle of the magic circles. Luminous raised both of her hands in the air, and with a huge amount of magic tools she began to generate from herself. She looked at Milim and smirked. "Behold my power, Milim. This is my trump card. I've been saving for my rematch with Dragul and Valdor. This is my holy and demonic magic. Mixed together, I call it Demon Lightsaber. I created this spell with the intention of killing two dragons, if I ever faced one. Even never did I thought that I would be using it on you, though now I will give you one last chance to back down, or I will kill you." Milim stood silently and smiled. "Are you sure?" "Oh, you are confident in that power of yours. But let's see. Let's put that power of yours to the test, shall we?" Luminous became angry. after hearing Milim's response. I'm serious, if I release this spell, you will die. Leave and I will stop. I will be the judge of that. Hit me with your best shot if you dare, Milim taunted Luminous. Luminous sighed and brought down her hand, embraced her demon light saber. The multiple magic circles which surrounded Milim began to glow. Then a very bright red and black light filled the whole area and consumed Milim. The light was so bright that those inside the city thought that a second sun had appeared. Many of the people all across the region were able to see the light that kept on shining. Finally, after a minute, the light died down and the dusk smoke covered the area. The attack that Luminous used had the same property of death, blessing, and disintegration mixed together. This attack will kill anyone it touches, regardless of the type of barrier the person used. This is because the attack is designed to erase both the physical and spiritual body of anyone it touches. It was no wonder that Luminous was confident that it could, in the attack, being able to kill a higher being. Luminous turned her back and appeared to leave when she heard sounds coming from the smoke. She turned around and looked closely in the smoke to see if it was her mind playing tricks on her. All of a sudden, a huge gust of wind blew out of all the smoke to reveal Milim standing there in her full world-class armor and with her world-class sword Tenma. She had a black and purple aura that covered her entire body. She stood proudly and confidently looking at Luminous. That was one killer attack. I can see why you were confident about it. If this attack was been used on anyone besides me, I'm certain it would have killed that person. I think that only my darling Rimiru could withstand that attack. Too bad for you, but it didn't work on me, Milim plainly told her. Luminous had her eyes wide open. This was her trump card, her best attack, and she took it like it was nothing. How? What kind of power does she have to counter the power of disintegration of all matter phenomena that exist? This is way beyond being on catastrophe level. This is on level of the gods. Are you saying that Milim Nava has surpassed the level of catastrophe? How did you survive that attack? That attack was designed to disintegrate all phenomena in existence. This is not an attack that can be blocked by any known equipment or power. So how did you do it? Luminous shouted at her. Milim looked at her and smirked. I don't like revealing my powers to others, but I can guess I can make an exception. Have you heard of ultimate skill before? Luminous was surprised, but from the question, of course I have. It is the evolved form of unique skill and the final evolutionary stage of skills in general. They are known only in legends because they are so hard to obtain. Are you saying you possess an ultimate skill? That's right. People who are very lucky were able to awaken ultimate skill. After certain conditions were met, a person can only have one ultimate skill. But that isn't the case for me, Milim explained to her. Luminous was starting to understand what she was saying. Are you suggesting that you have more than one ultimate skill? Exactly. I won't be able to tell you. My first ultimate skill is can do. I won't tell you what my first ultimate skill can do because that one is a secret that not even my darling Rimiru knows about. But I will tell you about my second ultimate skill. I possess the ultimate skill Armageddon Destruction. This skill has the power to destroy and erase all things from existence. It doesn't matter what shape, form, or type of thing it is. I can erase it as long as the phenomena exist. With this skill, erasing your spell was nothing more than child's play for me, Milim told her, with her smirk increased. Luminous did not want to believe what she heard, but the evidence is standing right in front of her. She couldn't help but laugh bitterly because of how helpless she felt after the face of the overwhelming power before her. How can she be Milim when she can erase anything and any attack she has? This is just so unfair. And make matters worse, she's almost out of magic heals because of that last attack. In fact, it is taking all her strength just to keep standing. I must praise you, though. You were powerful enough to force me to rely on my ultimate skill to survive. Had I not possessed that skill, I would have perished from that last attack. Now is it over. Try and survive this if you can, Milim told her before she took a stance and dropped her sword and disappeared before she looked at Luminous and got ready to attack. Luminous saw that she was going to attack and got ready to defend herself. She knew she had her full focus on Milim, watching to see what would happen, watching to see what she would do, but right before her eyes, Milim disappeared and appeared in front of her, and gave her an uppercut, sent her flying. Luminous was sent flying in the air with her broken jaw and serious pain. She was confused on what happened, but before she could think more of it, Milim appeared again above her and kicked her in the spleen, which sent her flying again in the air. Luminous was in a lot of pain despite having pain nullification skill. She couldn't think because Milim was not giving her a chance to. Milim appeared again to where she was still flying and punched her in the stomach, which sent her flying, and repeated the process. Milim kept on punching and kicking Luminous all over the place in the air until finally she gave her a drop kick to the head, which sent her crashing down to the ground with a huge boom that created a huge dust smoke. Milim flew down to the smoke and released a little bit more of her aura, which cleared out the smoke in the air to reveal Luminous lying on the ground with multiple cracks in it and her body covered in a lot of blood. She looks like a dead corpse, but she was able to survive that punishment thanks to her infinite regeneration skill. Milim looked at her and gave her a cold look. Any last words before I finish you? Luminous quickly looked at Milim and glared. I didn't do anything to you, yet you falsely accuse me of doing things I know nothing about. I told you that I didn't send anyone to attack Rimiru. Someone else is behind this. Don't try to act all innocent on me. Your knights were marching to my beloved Rimiru's nation to attack him. I know that Rimiru and his subordinates will handle them, but what kind of future wife would I be if I don't try to protect my husband's nation from anyone who wishes to harm it? Milim shouted at her. Luminous was confused by what Milim said. Future husband? What do you mean? Oh, didn't I tell you? Milim showed Luminous her ring finger. Rimiru proposed to me, and we were going to get married soon. I promised myself that I will do anything to protect Rimiru from danger, because he means more to me than life itself. Life itself. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Life itself, so I will not stand by and watch you plotting his downfall while I can do something about it. I understand how you feel, believe me, I do. But you got it wrong. Please give me a chance to prove that this accusation is all a mistake. Luminous pleaded with her. How do you plan to do that? Milim asked her. By going to Tempest and seeing the paladins myself, I will prove my innocence that way, Luminous told her. Milim thought about her offer before she nodded. Fine, but I will be taking you there myself to make sure that you don't escape. Just know that I'm actually considering this because Rimiru didn't want me to kill you, but if I find out that you're tricking me, I will not hesitate to end you. Remember that. Luminous had no choice but to accept. Milim went and picked her up and placed her on her back before she took off to the direction of Tempest. Luminous has her suspicion that the 7 days were behind this mess. She failed to kill them all if that case was the case, as retribution for this humiliating beatdown which she received by the hands of Milim. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe today to become one of my domestic listeners. Goodbye and peace out, everyone.